Donovan Mitchell in this incredible rookie season he's had in the context of his responsibilities versus the team's expectations when the season began.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch how he evolved as the team evolved. I think when the season started, although he was the 13th pick, the Jazz and Quinn Snyder don't play we have one guy that's going to dominate the opportunities. Right. It's a team game. They move the basketball. They share it. And so really the team struggled early in the season, and there seemed to be a point where Donovan Mitchell decided he wanted to be the best player on the team, and the organization decided he is the best player on the team.
Right.
And they created a way of playing that allowed for him to do what he does best, and that's attack and be aggressive. And their season exploded from there along with his individual play. And he's had a season that we all will remember. At times we didn't think of him as a rookie. We just started to mention his name as one of the best players in the game already.
Yeah.
And that's an impressive thing for a first-year player.
And also it takes your teammates to embrace you being that player, especially as a young guy. Normally veterans don't accept the young guys coming in because he's a player. He really hasn't proven himself. But as the season went on, they start trusting in him more and more, and you start seeing his whole package of being able to put the ball on the floor, knock down shots from the outside. And then he showed a competitiveness that players don't always show. But I like what Chris Paul said earlier in his interview about, you know, him and Donovan Mitchell, that's his little brother. But what he didn't do is he did communicate with him during the series. It's personal.
Right.
And that's where players don't understand. We're not friends during the series. It's about business. So when we lose, I want to see you next year. We don't have any. We don't need to have that conversation during the game and be buddy and play around, because we're trying to advance. We're trying to win a championship. So I was happy when Chris Paul said that, because he took the series seriously and he didn't see it as being, okay, this is somebody I need to be talking to, need to be texting, emailing. No, it's business.
Right. That's the way Chris Paul kind of operates, I think.
And that, but that also sets the example for Donovan Mitchell as a young player.
Sure. That
a Hall of Fame player, this is how he handles himself.
No fraternizing.
So this is how I probably should develop myself as a postseason player.
Remember, about a year ago now, Donovan Mitchell wasn't even sure he was going to enter the NBA draft. He was considering it, and then he went and worked out a little bit with guys like Chris Paul. And
got some great advice.
You're ready. Go ahead and go. But even the Jazz had no idea what they were getting in him. They thought he would be a good player. Most people who had scouted him thought he would be a good, solid, two-way NBA player. Nobody expected a guy in his rookie year who would be handling the ball, making decisions at the end of games.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first part of that story speaks to how important it is to have the right people around you that care about your best interest and not thinking about what their situation is. So for Chris Paul and Paul George to say to him, we see something in you that maybe you don't see in yourself just yet, speaks to the quality of their character and who they are. And then for Donovan to receive that information, feel energized from it, and then he still deserves the credit for putting in the work to be this good. This is not a wake up one night and I can be this good. This is work hour after hour after hour. He seems like the type of young man that you can say you need to work on a certain part of your game, and he goes and puts the work in the gym. And those are the type of players you want to have on your team. And he has a bright future. The Jazz have a bright future. They're going to get better next season. Ricky Rubio will be back. It'll be a fun team to watch going forward.
He's the kind of kid that the coach loves, the marketing department loves. Right? He's really charismatic. We did that Rookies Open Court with him back in February at All-Star Weekend. Completely gets it. He's thoughtful, great with the media, easy guy to put on a poster to try to sell tickets. I mean, there's not much lacking with Donovan.
No, I mean, he has a great presence about himself, and, you know, he showed professionalism as a young player, and sometimes you don't always see this when young players come into the league. So you have to think about the circle of people who are around him. They've done a good job. The organization brought him in when they lost Gordon Hayward. You got to think that they lost an all-star caliber player, and you replace him with a rookie. No one saw him being as great as he was this season, but what he did was he was a competitor, and the players fed off of his energy. And when you have a player of that caliber, all the players around him are going to want to play with him, and then he's going to be able, at some point in time in his career, he's going to bring free agents to the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, a lot of people assumed, and rightly so, that the Jazz would take a step back this season without Gordon Hayward. After winning a playoff series last year, I don't think many people were predicting that they'd win another one this season before the season began. But their season has come to an end. The Rockets move on. Let's hear from Gerald Green in the locker room.
Oh, man, that means a lot. You know, we halfway there. So, you know, we need our fans. Our fans was great tonight. You know, they had a lot of energy. They really helped us, you know, give us that extra boost to put us over to get us into the next round.
Personally for you, what was it like?
Man, I'm just living the dream, man. Every day at a time, man. I wake up every day and I'm just still like, wow, I still don't know what's going on. But like I said, you know, we still got a lot to. I still got a goal, and I haven't achieved it yet. So it feels good, but on to the next one.
When you were the steal and drive to the dunk, did you feel like the dam was about to break?
Yeah, I kind of feel like I don't know about the break. I was just trying to just make a play, just trying to do everything, trying to just bring some energy. To, you know, felt like we was in a little funk at that time, so I was just trying to do everything I can to bring some energy.
What was that talk after the third quarter? What did you guys say to one another?
You know, we ain't never. One thing I said was I was talking to Luke Bonmuta. I was like, we don't need to panic. We've been in this situation before. We've been down 3. We've been up 3. Like, let's not panic because it's the closing game. Like, let's keep playing the way we're playing, and our momentum, our energy, our competitiveness, the want to win is gonna kick in and take over, and that's what happened.
What do you think about
Oh man, shit. My bad. Chris Paul's tough, man. He's gosh, man. He's everything. He's a right-hand leader to James. He's a teacher. He's the one that gets on everybody. He's a great scorer, great passer. I mean, I could be here all day saying how good things about him. But tonight definitely was a game. I'm glad that he performed the way he performed. It wasn't no letting go with him. You know, you could tell from the gate that he was going to come out and have a big game like that. And I think the whole team, we got on his back.
Would you rather the Pelicans or the Warriors?
It doesn't really matter to me. I know both teams are good, so you know, we're just gonna prepare for either team that plays, and that's that.
General coach was reminding us that the conference finals are just going to get tougher and tougher.
Yeah.
You've been there. You were
Yeah.
there, so you can speak to that, right?
4 teams. It's only 4 teams left, so you know, it gets even tougher. You know what I mean? Like I said, we you know, we're halfway there. We still got to lock in. It feels good to advance, but that's not our main goal. So we can't take this like, oh, we've done it. No, we haven't. So we still got to continue to keep getting better and keep preparing and get ready to go.
How big is it for this team? James is sick. Clint's played more minutes than he ever has in
Right.
his life. To get this break here.
Oh, it's a big break. You know, it's the playoffs, man. Anytime you can get a few days extra rest than scheduled or needed, it's always great. So, you know, I know guys are banged up, not feeling under the weather. It's good to have a few days off so we can rest up and get back right.
Gerald Green, the Houston native, with 8 points off the bench. Remember, he began the season on the couch.
Yeah.
Not literally on the couch. He was doing whatever he was doing. He was working
Watching
out.
NBA
but he-
TV.
With his
yes.
dog.
He was on the street, as they say. He was a free agent and nowhere to play. And then the Rockets come calling, and he's become a key part of this bench.
Yes, it is.
Amazing.
I mean, what's so good about this is you have to stay in shape. You don't know when that call is going to come. So, but he brought so much energy. And then being a hometown player, it's always great to play for your hometown team.
Yeah.
Many players don't get that opportunity, but he came in, he provided energy, knocked down some shots, but his timely 3, his drive to the basket, but just the opportunity that the Houston Rockets gave him, he has seized that moment.
And sometimes that's how close you are to your blessing, you know, where you're working. For players in particular, maybe you're not getting playing time. Maybe
Right.
you're not getting that call up. Maybe you don't think it's right around the corner, but you have to stay with it. And Gerald, to his credit, stuck with it just that additional week, that additional month, and now he's getting the reward.
And also,
opportunities on
he
the
found
big
the
team.
right team to go to that
Yeah,
fit him
for sure
perfectly.
that.
Right.
For sure.
It was interesting during this game. Clint Capella, who's been a star in the playoffs for Houston so far, ran into some foul trouble, left the floor, and you saw Utah, particularly Donovan Mitchell, some of those highlights, immediately attack the paint without him there. How valuable has he become for them on both ends of the floor now?
He impacts the game in all areas. He keeps their pace high because he runs the floor hard, sets good drag, screen, and rolls in transition, and gets to the front of the rim. But the amount of shots that he not only blocks himself at the point of attack, but now teams are thinking about and having to wonder, is he coming to rotate over to block shots and chain shots? So you also have to give this young man a lot of credit for improving year after year and then staying within himself at the things that he does well. changing shots, blocking shots, running the floor, not trying to become a jack of all trades. Be good at who you are and what you do, and he's helping his team advance as well.
He only took 2 shots tonight, only hit 1, but 5 blocks. That gives him 11 blocks over the last 2 games of this series.
Well, as Fish talked on, he has great instincts around the basket. So just when you think you have a layup, he might get it with his fingertip, but he's always trying to protect the rim because that is his job to help this team out. I am the back line of defense, and when you're the back line, you got to make sure you protect those guys. And as soon as he went out of the game, you start seeing everyone Burks. Everyone was attacking the basket because he wasn't back there. So he does impact the game differently than most guys do. And then on offense, he knows that on the drag screen and also when they drive, they get deep penetration. If the big helps off of him, he gets the layups to the basket. So he has embraced his role. Hopefully he'll keep building on his offensive game. But as long as he don't try to become a stretch 4, stretch 5, I think he's really going to help this team down the line. And then it still goes back to CP3, his composure, his poise, and late-minute situations. That's what helped this team out.
Let's look ahead for a moment, and let's assume Golden State. Until the Pelicans win 2 more games, let's just assume it's going to be Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. Initial thoughts based on what you've seen from this iteration of the Rockets this postseason, not what we've seen in the past, but this version, the more defensive-minded, the more diverse offensively version of the Rockets.
Oh, that's great. Golden State Warriors.
I hear a butt coming.
It's a different kind of beast.
Yeah.
And they present so many problems because they have so many guys that can score from outside, the ball keeps moving, and a team that can go to KD, MVP, Steph, MVP. And then you have Draymond Green, who is a multiple-dimensional player because he can put the ball on the floor, shoot threes from outside. He wants to take on the challenge of defending the best player. But this team has experience. They've won a championship before, and they're going to be ready for Houston. And Houston, whether it was a regular season, is totally different when you get to the playoff. And this series will be to go to the finals. The Warriors have been there.
And I think for the Warriors, what will change for the Rockets the most is the Warriors' length and activity on the defensive end. They'll be able to shut things off that the Rockets are accustomed to being able to access. The Rockets, we think that they move the basketball a lot, but they really finish possessions a lot from Harden and Paul.
Right.
Those 2 guys typically are playing in isolation off of switches and screen roll. They attack angles, they force 2 on the ball, and then they kick out. With the Warriors, you just don't get as many of those opportunities because it's Iguodala, Durant, Thompson, Green, switching on to those players. Steph Curry is an underrated defender, so you're not going to get by those guys as easily. Now you're taking contested non-paint 2s, maybe contested 3s. Now you got arguably the best team or most efficient team offensively running back at you, demoralizing you on that end as well. So it's okay, man. Don't worry.
I don't know what just happened with my chair. It just made a really loud noise.
Even talking about the Warriors scares you. So think
Has me on edge.
Think about how the Rockets.
But also, I think, you know, as you touched on, the length and athleticism. But this team, once they get the rebound, everybody's off to the races. And Houston hasn't had to defend a team that runs like them. So it's going to present a different kind of problem than they had in the Utah series. And you can't go small against this team. They take advantage of the mismatches just like Houston does. But as you touched on, you know, they're more Houston isolation team. Golden State is about ball movement and player movement. And when you have ball movement, player movement, it's the toughest offense to guard against.